Mid-side processing is a special way to process stereo signals. This stereo signal is made up of two mono signals, one for the left channel and one for the right channel. However, when we create this stereo signal, it's likely the case that we don't just have sounds that occur on the left side or on the right side. We can pan some signals to the center. The concept of mid-side processing is that we as audio engineers would like to be able to process sounds that are in the center or mid part of our mix, separate from the sounds that are on the sides. As an example, maybe we like to apply an equalizer to the sounds that are in the center of our mix, but apply a compressor to things that are on the sides of the mix. So let's take a closer look in our digital audio workstation about the concept of mid-side processing. Here in my digital audio workstation, I'm going to demonstrate a couple applications of mid-side processing. I'll be working with a stereo recording of a drum mix. When I play it back, I want you to notice that the kick and the snare are panned to the center, and then other elements like the hi-hat and toms are panned from left to right. The recording sounds like this. I'm going to use mid-side processing to treat the elements in the center of the mix differently than the elements that are on the sides of the mix. I'm going to use a plugin called iZotope Ozone. It has mid-side processing built in. There are a number of other plugins that also have this same kind of processing. I'm going to work with two different modules. There's an equalizer and also a dynamic section with a compressor. I'll start out with the equalizer. Here, the equalizer can function in several different modes. Right now, for the stereo file, it's affecting the left and the right signals equally. This is a stereo linked version. Then we also have the mid-side version here, and then a separated left and right. So there's different ways to use this equalizer. I'll switch over and use the mid and the sides. You'll notice that above the equalizer in the top right corner, you'll have it labeled as mid, or I can also switch it over to side. Now what I can do is make adjustments to the equalizer that's just affecting the mid channel, or adjustments to the equalizer that's just affecting the sides. I can also monitor just one or the other. So if I want, I can click this solo button and just listen to the mids. So now let's perform a conventional way of using this mid-side equalization. And that is to switch over to the equalizer just affecting the sides and use a high-pass filter. This is used a lot of the times in mastering to ensure that the kick and the sub-frequencies, the ultra-low frequencies, are going to be just in the center. We want to remove those from the sides. So I'll turn this on to a high-pass filter, and I'll set it to be about 150 hertz. Now what I can do is listen back and notice that just the low frequencies are occurring in the center. So that's one use of performing mid-side processing to equalize the mid and the sides separately. Now let's look at using the dynamic section to perform compression. Again, there are two different modes. You have the stereo linked mode, which compresses the left and right channels equally. You also have the mid-side mode. Now we can compress the mid differently than we compress the sides. So what I'm going to do here is, in this case, I like to just compress the mids where the kick and the snare are. For whatever reason, I've decided as a mixing engineer or mastering engineer that the kick and the snare are too loud. I need to bring their level down, maybe compress them a little bit more. So what I'll do here is monitor the mid channel and then set the compression threshold and also ratio so that I am able to properly compress the signal. So now what I've been able to do is use mid-side processing to just compress the elements of the mix that are in the center without compressing the elements that are on the sides. So that's several different applications of how you can use mid-side processing to treat different elements in your mix.